5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. So this is a podcast where my co-hosts and I listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host and give our version of the truth of how those podcasts went. Now, hopefully there aren't too many consequences from the hosts of the other podcasts, and so far so good. Now, typically, as of recently, we have been recording at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Today we are on location at Sonder Brewing in Mason. Thank you to Sonder Brewing for hosting us. Now, I am Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally, and I'm about to introduce the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
And I am Julia, and I am a drinker of all the craft beer here in the Cincinnati area, and I also like to write funny stories, parodies, little recaps of my daily life during beer event season, which, as Marco said, we will be in the thick of it when this episode releases. It is 2 days away. I cannot wait. I am so excited.
I'm excited for you.
I am so beyond thrilled. And for anyone that has not been paying attention to us for the last month and a half, well, since July, really, when they started doing the pre-orders, and didn't buy their beer event box and went to Higher Gravity or went to their website and saw that they were sold out, we told you.
Yeah.
We told you to get them, and you didn't, and it's all on you.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to look at these posts and be sad.
If you didn't get one, it's kind of like Iran in the World Cup. They gone.
Iran.
I did hear that where there was a interaction there with
which is fine. I mean, try to do correct pronunciations here on this podcast.
Understood.
That's how we do it.
I can appreciate
that. Congrats to the U.S. men's national team for making it to the next round. That was incredibly exciting. Yes. I'm glad that I got to watch the win with you and pretty much the entire Sonder team here. That was awesome.
Most of the important sports ball things for the nation and for Cincinnati, you and I have actually been in the same room together. So that's pretty cool.
It's all happening because of us.
I think as we
what I mean? It's like
as we cover some of these podcasts later, I mean, we may some of them may have given us thanks. I just want to say, so we would not be a good craft beer podcast if we weren't drinking craft beer. And true. I don't know how we get extra points for today, but we should get extra points as a craft beer podcast because you have a big O flight.
I do. So Family Tradition just came out, and I have a flight of almost all of them because they did not have the double oaked up on the board. I don't know how long that was on draft. Probably not very long. But I have the base, the Barleywine, the Hazelnut Cinnamon Coffee, and the Cocoanilla, and they are freaking ridiculous. They are so good. I think that I told you last episode that instead of me putting my money towards Dark Charge this year, I was putting it towards Family Tradition, and I am not disappointed.
Well, and that's I'm not surprised.
But
you're not disappointed. The team at Sonder is very meticulous and also very skilled and crafted. So I'm not at all surprised that these beers are delicious.
Well, speaking of bonus points, you, sir, have two glasses in front of you.
I do. I have Test Lager 1 and Test Lager 2, or as I like to call it, a pair of testes here, and I am drinking those. And
why didn't they market it like that? My God, get yourself a pair of testes. Although, that really should be reserved for something that the Gnome could do during one of his Manscaped ads, which we will get to.
Gnome, manscaped.com.
Promo code Gnome. Not even just hashtag Gnome.
Promo code Gnome.
Promo code Gnome. Manscaped.com.
Maybe one of these days we'll get a promo code.
Maybe. But you see, that means we have to probably reach out to them, and we're just not good at that.
No, and we're not good at that. Not at all. We stay in our lane. But anyways, I'm enjoying what I have here. The team at Sonder not only does a great job with their barrel-aged beers and winning GABF awards for those, but they do an amazing job with lagers. And these lagers here, Test Lager 1 and Test Lager 2, as I said, the testes here, they're fantastic. just get over to Sonder and decide which one you want to vote for. It's very, very tough. They are so delicious.
They're both very good.
I think we've mentioned in an earlier podcast where, it's just bragging in so many different ways about how just fantastic each beer and each style is. So good job to the team at Sonder.
Agreed. And we actually only have, I guess, kind of 1.5 podcasts to talk about. We have the Craft Parenting podcast, which it was a bonus. That's why I'm saying 1.5, because it was episode 84.5, the one where they covered beer, booze, bonks, boinks, binks, biscuits, the Better Business Bureau, boobs, and bananas. I don't know. I was kind of stretching there, which was a hell of a lot of fun. We talked about it a couple podcasts ago, but we get to talk about the Craft Parenting podcast, talking about beer, booze, bonks. And then we have a full episode of... You ready?
I am ready.
You get a double cup your testes there?
No, I just have one right now.
Just one test. The Cincinnati Brewcast. Cheers.
So that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason why we're here is because, like Julia said,
it's our mini drinking game. Yeah.
Like Julia said, she bought Family Tradition, and we thought it'd be an excellent reason to go on location.
Yes, I had to pick up my bottles. The allocation pickup ends tomorrow as we're recording this, and I went, knowing my luck, I'm going to realize it a day late, and they will be gone. So I said, hey, Marky, you want to record from Sonder? And he said,
yes, I do.
Yes, I do. So here we are. To anyone worried about me, like my Josh, about me having a flight full of freaking...
Not worried.
Probably 11%. Well, what did they say in their last podcast? 12% and up?
Yeah,
I think the base was like 12%. I asked for them to make my flights half pours just to make sure that I'm still good. So it will take me quite a while to get through all of these.
Probably longer
than I should.
Probably longer than the podcast and a portion that we're talking about.
Yes. So did you want to start with Craft Parenting Pod? Or
yes.
Okay, all right. I do want to give kind of a little double shout out for Craft Parenting Podcast for their previous episode about giving thanks, the one where we give thanks, because in the last part of the episode they did give a huge shout out and a thanks to just the Cincinnati craft beer podcasting community.
And us specifically.
And us. I mean, pretty much just us.
Yeah.
And they're there were a couple of other podcasters that we made friends with, but that Joy and Marco were tops. Without them, we would not know what we were missing in craft beer. So, Joe and Caroline, Caroline, we thank you for thanking us. Oh,
that's right. And
we have some more testes on the table.
Yeah, we do. Oh, mixing them up?
Well, damn it, now I feel like I need to match, and this is,
You should get some testes.
I should get some testes, too. Damn it.
Well, but you have a lot going on.
I have a lot going on here, so maybe I shouldn't get testes. We'll see where this all goes.
Okay.
Craft Parenting Podcast. So, again, the part of their Thanksgiving episode where they mentioned the craft beer community was like the last 10 or 15 minutes of the episode. So we're not doing a full recap of that, but definitely want to say that we appreciate them so much. They are such great people. Joe and Caroline are fantastic. We love getting to hang out with them. And just the fact that they appreciate us. That sounds kind of, I don't know. I don't know if that sounds not self-absorbed, but just, hey, yeah, you appreciate us.
I don't mind.
It's weird,
that
but
way.
it's
all
great.
in a
It's
joking
awesome.
manner because we really do love that there is a Cincinnati craft beer podcast community.
Yeah.
We love that we're able to come together every week and talk about it, and we love that at some of these different events and engagements that we're able to hang out and just have beers and share and talk and all that, and so it's really fun, and it's I am grateful as well. We did not do a Thanksgiving I'm grateful for episode. I don't know if we ever will, but I am.
It depends on if Thanksgiving ever falls on a Tuesday.
You know what? If it ever does,
we'll do it. Although I will say, in 2023. The 4th of July falls on a Tuesday. We with red, white, and blue ash. We may need to figure something out for recording in that. We could do it live. We could do Truth Beer Pod live from Higher Gravity Blue Ash during red, white, and blue ash.
Us to take up a table during that event.
Hey, I know the owners.
Oh,
I will make something happen.
Okay.
Jason, I'm sorry for throwing you under the bus there. No, but that so far has been the only actual holiday that I'm aware of that falls on a Tuesday that we may need to figure out some other situation.
Okay.
But let's get back to Craft Parenting Pod. I don't want to go too far down
And
the
then
rabbit
move
holes
on
there.
to the next episode, which
Yeah,
is the Beer, Booze, and Bonks.
Yeah, 84.5, the one where good Lord, the one where we recap beer, booze, and bonks.
That's right.
They talked about the 3 different parts to beer, booze, and bonks. They talked about the beers, how they're curated by the Gnarly Gnome. They talked about who the Gnarly Gnome is. They said that he was kind of a big deal in the craft beer podcast community.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've heard of him once or twice.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, yeah, kind of a big deal, for
kind
sure.
of a big deal.
I
Kind of
think
a big
the
deal.
thing is that, are you kidding? Really? We have a producer here.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, 2024, on a Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? Ooh.
Ooh. You get blackout drunk that day, Julia.
Hell yeah. We're already making plans for 2024.
That's right. I love it. That's right. Us in Swine City have
Dude,
plans
shout out
for
to our
2024.
I'll tell you what, our producer is so much better than producer David, who does stuff for the Gnome. That guy just doesn't even show up half the time. I don't
Thank you,
know what's
producer.
going on. Yeah. Huge shout out to mystery producer.
Mystery producer.
Yeah. The producer, just capital T, the capital P producer.
The producer.
The producer.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a big deal, the Gnome, and craft beer in Cincinnati. And
Yeah.
gosh, I mean, this guy's had Zane Lamprey on his podcast.
No
I
kidding.
mean, twice. So,
You know.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
It is. But I love that they talked about how not only who the Gnome is as far as the craft beer podcasting community, but what he did for the festival, like how he was involved in, the main figurehead in curating the beers, talking to the breweries,
Right.
saying, these are the beers that I want you to bring, or what beers do you have to offer that fit the criteria of what this festival is, because it is not just a normal craft beer festival. It is something that has beers you just can't get anywhere.
Right.
They're fairly limited.
They did go through a list, the beer list.
Correct, yeah.
And basically only point out maybe 2 or 3 that you could get in and around the city pretty regular, or they're pretty available.
Right.
Everything else
you still have to go somewhere to get them. It's not like these are like easily to find packaged beers, anything like that. And again, this is just like the maybe 2 or 3 that they mentioned.
Right.
97% of these beers, beer, booze, and bonks, maybe those breweries, tap rooms.
Right. And then, I mean, that's about where you're going to find them.
Right.
So that was fun. They talked about beer and then booze. There's not only was there a craft cocktail on draft, and then there was some booze, but
They have the full bar that they mentioned,
bar,
which you and I took advantage of.
we did, and
We did.
that's unique to a beer festival.
Yeah.
And it's a part of what you get at this festival that you just don't get at another festival.
Yep. And then they talked about the bonks, what foaling is, and how much time we spent on that foaling foaling lane, I guess it's a lane, trying to see if either my Josh and I, which he is now known as Dippa Josh according to
He is
them.
Dippa Josh.
I love it so much.
He's Dippa
So
Josh.
Dippa Josh and Joe and CAAAAAROLIIINE. That game took so damn long that I don't know. I was looking for, I think we talked about this last time too. I was looking for either Tony Pike or Dell to say, hey, can you come in and like finish this for one of us, either side? Because we cannot knock these pins down no matter what. But they,
Yeah.
I did have to let Caroline know, like, she was throwing from the back yellow line, and I don't know what line you're supposed to throw or not throw from. I'm like, dude, I'm a chick. I don't have a strong arm. I'm throwing from that second line that's closer to the middle. So I'm like, yo, Caroline, step up. Throw from farther.
That's it. Step up, Caroline.
Step up, Caroline. But it was a lot of fun. So they covered the 3 Bs of the Beer Booze Bonks Fest, which was great. And apparently, well, not apparently, I witnessed this firsthand. She does much better at foaling when she's aiming for other people, like their faces.
She said in the face.
Their body parts.
Said,
it was.
if I aim for people's faces.
It actually worked out.
So, I
you
mean,
do have to pay attention when
her
you're there and
throwing a
people are in all
football-
the other lanes. Yeah.
Her throwing a football and then shooting a shotgun. Both same technique.
Just wherever it goes. I will say it is kind of dangerous because with a football, you never know which way that ball's going to bounce. And like if you don't hit your target and if someone's not there to like grab it right away,
Yeah, it's not a round ball.
no. It hits and it goes
Yeah, it just springs.
No one knows where,
It
and
boings.
it's fantastic. They pre-gamed at Nine Giant.
They did.
Which is awesome. They had a couple of the same beers that my Josh and I had when we went to Nine Giant a couple days before.
Okay.
Amazing. Let's see. Caroline, to me, she won the mystery beer machine at Beer, Booze, and Bonks.
Oh,
Do you remember what she got?
I remember she got her card punched like at the first
wrong
booth.
one. Yeah.
they punched her mystery beer machine.
Instead of the actual
of the-
mystery beer
Yeah.
section. Yeah. And she was so
You just
worried.
took a
She's
beer
like,
from me.
she was so worried that they wouldn't give her mystery beer machine. She's like, what do I do? And Joe was like, you can use my punch card to go up and get your mystery beer. I don't think I won mine.
Yeah, Joe didn't want any part
Stand-up
of it.
guy Joe is. But no, she got a Natter Days, which, as we know, we talked about this before the show, and I don't want to give too much away for a potential other podcast if it happens, but
Okay.
we all know one Natter Days is equal to some really good beer in the trading world. So we'll see where that leads us maybe next week or two.
I had a Stroh's.
You had a Stroh's.
I got a Stroh's. That was one of my beers. I can't remember what the other one was. I feel like
Well, you only got one this year. So if you had a second one, that would have been from Rachel's ticket.
that was Rachel's ticket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she wasn't going to the mystery beer machine. There wasn't a Riesling in the mystery beer machine. So I took her card to the mystery beer machine. Excuse me.
Oh.
Is there a daiquiri in there? Sorry, Rachel, you don't talk that way. But anyway.
I almost lost some of the best family tradition in the world because I was not expecting that. Oh, my God. I gave my card to Tyler from Swine City.
That's right.
To get the mystery beer for me because he said, oh, no, I don't get a card because I'm here with the brewery. I've never done the mystery beer machine. I'm like, well, here, take my card and go up. And my intent was for him to just keep whatever it was. I'm like, I don't need an extra, drink it, but I don't need it. I got a High Life, so I feel like I won in that. My Josh
Winning.
my Josh got the exact same thing that he got for one of his mystery beers last year.
Dippa Josh?
Dippa Josh, he got a Colt 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
He's a smooth malt liquor picker.
But I will say that Joe from Craft Parenting Pod, he did end up getting a mystery beer because he gave it to Danny from Sonder,
He did.
and they talked about what Danny did with said beer,
Yeah,
and it was amazing.
they did. Yeah.
I mean-
I remember what it was.
Yeah.
I remember what my other beer was.
Oh, what was it?
The other mystery beer I had
Yeah.
was that, what was it called? Guinnessy Honey Brown.
Oh, that's right. That was
Yeah.
neither honeyish nor
Brown.
really brown, and
It was
interesting. It was interesting.
it was rough.
It was fitting of the mystery beer machine.
Yeah.
We will say that. I didn't ask if anyone got the golden can the past few times that we've talked to the gnomes. So
No.
maybe it's still in the mystery beer machine. Maybe some unlucky person is going to ask for a mystery beer, and they're going to get a gold duct tape colored can and be like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
And the following warehouse employees are going to be like, "I have
they're
no idea."
They're going to go with it.
Pick again.
You're the winner.
Yay! And they're like, "Oh,
win."
what do we win?" I
No,
don't-
that's
I
a
don't-
gold can. That's what you get.
That's what you get. You get the can.
You get
It's
the
awesome.
can. Like what?
And then, kind of like you said, this is only a 30-minute episode, so we don't have a ton to really go over for this.
No, but we only have
Like,
about 20 minutes before we actually equal the length of time of the episode. So
Yeah, so I guess we should kind of wrap things up. Is that what you're saying?
wrap it up.
All right. Like you said earlier, they covered all of the beers that were the beers and the cocktails and all the beverages. Because, again, this is not just a beer fest. It is so much more than that. They covered everything available at the festival. They covered what each of them had, the things that they missed that they meant to go and get a taster of that they didn't get a taster of. And I know that they mentioned that the tasters were 4 ounces. I do know when I compared the glasses from last year's Beer Booze Bonks and this year's, there was a size difference. So I believe this year you might have gotten an extra ounce, like a 5 or 6 ounce sample this year as opposed to last year, which
I know it took
Awesome.
3 fills to fill a
Your
water cup.
you probably could have just taken your water cup over there and just said, "Can I?"
I thought
Can I
about
get
it,
some of
but,
this?
I mean, I was going for the dramatic effect. of
Which
the-
which worked.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that worked. And before we wrap this up, huge shout out to Joe and CAAAAROLIIINE from the Craft Parenting Podcast for passing 2,000 downloads of their podcast.
Congratulations.
Yay!
Congratulations.
We are
Craft
incredibly
Parenting Pod.
exciting for you guys. That is awesome. That is a huge milestone, and we can't wait to see what kind of things you do next.
Yeah,
It's only up from here. Yeah. So you're good with the recap. I know your notes match my notes.
I know.
Anything
You see
else
them?
for it?
You see
I
the
do.
notes?
I do. I see them right in front of me.
Yeah.
So
I have them right here next to the testes.
how are those testes? I noticed one's a bit larger than the other right now, or a bit fuller than the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
It's good. Do you know which one you're currently drinking? Are you drinking one in its entirety?
I'm drinking one.
And
yeah.
then, okay, so you're not going to bounce between the two. The hand motions that I'm making right now, if I had like the camera set up,
Right.
would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So all of you guys can just, the visual imagery, make it up on your own. It's great.
It'd be more like this.
You're right. My hands weren't really cupped enough. They were a little flat palmed.
Yeah.
For the testy action happening here. All right. We only have one other podcast.
Let's
Do we
go.
want to take a break or just run right into it?
No, let's just run right into
Let's-
it. Yeah. Let's just.
Let's just charge head first. Hey, you get it? Charge
go.
head first into Season 8, Episode 28, Dark Charge 2022 with Jake and Evan at Braxton, which I don't know that they introduced themselves during
No.
the podcast of the Cincinnati Brewcast.
There you go. Cheers. Drink, everyone.
Cheers.
We drink when we mispronounce that
We would
podcast.
cheers with the producer, but he's busy right now doing phone
He's
things.
producing.
He's producing.
So, there we go. Cheers, producer.
All right, Dark Charge Day.
Yeah.
It is coming up. It is going to be the day this podcast releases and the following day. So if you don't already have plans to go down there to Dark Charge Day, do it. This is your call to
Charge.
action.
Dark Charge Days.
Days. No.
The party's so big it couldn't fit in one day.
It's true. It's true. It is getting bigger and bigger, as is Braxton, as we hear later on in this episode.
Whoa, yeah, that's
I'm
true.
telling you. Gnome actually admitted that Dark Charge Day is his favorite event. Like, it even surpasses his wedding anniversary and his kid's birthday, which
I think they know that.
they probably do, but to admit it in that public of a forum,
Well, I mean, you just got to own it.
it's a bold
right?
move, Cotton. Yeah. Although,
Just own it.
I mean, we've met Mrs. Gnome, and I think she understands exactly what type of a situation
Yeah.
she's in. But
Yeah.
it is Gnome's absolute favorite event. I would say it's his favorite day, but now it's his favorite days.
Yeah.
Plural.
Yeah, plural. Multiple
So-
days.
Multiple days, so the family has to, survive on their own for 2 days now instead of just one. I think they can do it. They
Yeah.
seem pretty resilient. They did a decent portion of the beginning of the episode talking about Jubilee, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've had it a few times. It's delicious.
I have not.
You have not? Okay.
No, and I as I was buying my 6-pack of Truth yesterday on a Monday, because that's what I do, is I have Truth on a Monday.
Why not?
I saw Jubilee, and I considered grabbing it, and I didn't because it was Truth Day. Mm-hmm. But it's going to happen. I'm going to have Jubilee.
I'm still somewhat of it is kind of a seasonal-ish thing for me to wear anything that is that
Jubilant.
kind of Christmas
Oh, okay.
focus, even though they definitely talked about this in the episode about, is it a Christmas beer, is it just a winter beer, that kind of thing. To me, December 1st is kind of where I bridge that gap, and I'm ready for that. Like, I think Santa's Bribe from Taft's is already out, and a couple other, like, Christmas-themed beers. I'm just not ready for it yet. December
Okay.
1st, that's when those walls come down, so I will be getting it soon.
Okay.
I did feel like the Jubilee portion of the podcast was some of the more kind of beer nerdier parts of it. They really dug into making it the water profile, all that, which super cool. Really, really cool to hear about how they wanted to develop that beer and exactly how they wanted to make it taste the way they wanted it to taste. It just goes a little bit deeper than your typical like surface level conversation about this particular beer style, brand, whatever you want to
It
wanna
did.
call
It did, and that
But it
was
was cool.
fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
It was
yeah,
an
yeah,
easy
yeah.
journey to go along with.
Right.
for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then they moved into the main focus of the episode, Dark Charge Day, or Dark Charge Beer, rather. The history of it, how it came about. They kind of knew from day one, we're in Kentucky. Kentucky is bourbon. We need to do something that is big, that is barrel-aged, and we need to make sure whatever we do does it justice. This is absolutely putting words into their mouth, but they had no... what's the word I'm looking for? From day one of Braxton, they knew that was something they almost had to do, almost felt kind of compelled to do, to represent Kentucky and their place in Kentucky and the Kentucky alcohol world. I don't know how I want to word that, but I think you kind of know the general gist of how I'm trying to describe their discussion of the birth of Dark Charge.
Sure, and that's their way of really owning and saying, the proud Kentucky brewery. But they also understand that they're pulling from a bigger region, the Cincinnati region as well. And so this was something that they were able to make a mark in this craft beer community with.
Yeah.
And so it's really great to see that something that started out in the beginning has continued on in its forms to this point, to where it's so big that they're last year they did was it the cake box last year?
It was a distiller's box last year. I think
box.
cake box was the year before that, and then the cereal box was the year before that. But last year was the distiller's box.
And they're coming through with these concepts and ideas and making each year unto its own. And so it's
not the same thing every single year. The base isn't the same year after year. So you're
it
never.
Can't be. I mean, it's going into barrels.
Right. I mean, you are always getting kind of a brand new beer year after year ish.
So when you put the beer in the barrels, I mean, somebody has got to be the barrel wizard, and the intent is to make the base through a blending process, the same. But it's almost like you're working with living things. Things are changing. So as they decide what outside of the base is going to be, they're able to take the different characteristics of all these different barrels and put them into whatever it is, the type of flavor, style, adjunct, whatever it may be. Some barrels may go with others much better. But it's an exciting thing for them, and it's cool that they've grown over the number of years, not only to have different facilities, but have a facility that is for this purpose.
Right. And what I'll kind of jump into from there is they talked about everything's been released by the time Cincy Brewcast came out, all the variants were released. So none of this is going to be a surprise, a shocker to you guys for us talking about it. We're not going to mention every single variant out there because if you're interested in craft beer, you'll have seen it. If you haven't seen it and you're like, oh, but I want to know what's going on, listen to this episode of Cincy Brewcast. They dive into all 7, or is it 8, different variants for this year's Dark Charge. I kind of lost count. So, listen and find out how many variants, the differences in them, how they came about, what they were going to add, how they needed to lock some of the ingredients up in a vault to keep people from getting to some of the ingredients in some of these variants.
Yeah.
It was super, 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 super cool. I loved it. Although I will say, expose. Everyone already knows some of the variants and the special kind of collection. It's not a box this year. I believe it's you buy each of the coffee variants individually. It is. Okay, so the producer is letting us know. So the coffee variants are all coming in
A purse.
A package. A hand. They're coming in from the hand motions. They're coming in a purse. I don't know if it's a Coach purse. I don't know if it's a Target little handbag. So I was almost sold on getting the coffee variant pack
Yeah.
from their marketing. until I kept reading into it, looking for where it said, with this bottle of Dark Charge made with Urbana or whatever the roaster is, comes with a bag of that coffee used for that blend or for that beer. No,
it doesn't.
nope, you just get the beer. And I went, well, screw Braxton. They're not getting my money for this year.
Yeah.
I want the coffee, damn it. But no, I feel like it would have been...
What brewery sells coffee?
I believe there's one very close to us.
Oh, okay.
That roasts coffee, if not in-house, right above house. I don't know where the actual location is, but something
there.
Script Coffee. Oh, you see where we're pointing, guys? For those of you on the live stream, right in that general direction. But man, how cool would it have been to get even if it was a single coffee variant of Dark Charge, where they tell you the type of coffee, the roast, where it came from, to also get like a small, like 1 or 2 serving. I'm not talking like a full pound of coffee, anything like that.
Right.
But also a portion of that coffee to be able to brew side by side, so you can taste the coffee, see those notes of what that coffee is, and then open the bottle of Dark Charge and really understand the connection between
that would have been great,
the
but you're not
coffee and
second guessing these master innovators and marketers.
Hell yeah, I
Braxton.
am. Hell yeah, I am.
Yeah,
they do such an incredible job at what they do for Dark Charge. Like, this is like, there is no question about that. The marketing, the packaging, how they're able to come up with the amazing variants that they have year after year. No question. I just feel like this year they just missed the mark on that specific.
Yeah, I could see that
package, that specific collaboration.
Speaking of package, promo code Gnome, manscaped.com.
Yes, that's absolutely what I had in my notes next. It's like your notes match my notes.
They do.
I'll tell you what, these Manscaped ads get better and better every episode.
They do.
It is absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful music in the background.
And this episode, did you notice? Gnome mentioned the kind of gender inclusivity of some of the products. It is not just for men. I am so happy.
It's not.
It's almost like he listens to us.
Could be. Could be. He could be the one.
He could be. He could. He could be the one listener that we have week after week.
Well, and then there was a portion of the podcast which I was really, really, invested in, and it's where they talked about just going away and getting blasted at Sierra Nevada in Asheville.
Yeah.
But really, along with getting blasted, they asked themselves some really major questions. Like, what did they want out of this? That what Braxton has become, what did they want out of it? And
this kind of goes outside of just Dark Charge. This is more Braxton as a whole. I want to make sure that people kind of realize the separation of the conversation.
For the fulfillment of their own souls, what did they feel gave them the most joy out of this business? What did they feel part of the identity was? Where do they see the future going? Because they did talk a little bit about some of the ventures that they have done and some of the things that around the city that they have done, and some of the things that just it took off like wildfire and then shut down like Toys R Us. But they had a...
Poor Jeffrey. I wonder where that giraffe is right now.
Oh, that giraffe. Tell you what. But
Children's Palace. What happened to Children's Palace?
Oh, it's...
Boy, we could go down a whole rabbit hole of nostalgia here.
And they had that honest conversation with themselves, and they don't make any bones about it. They tell you, it's like, well, we're probably going to open another tap room.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to open another one after that.
Yep.
And so...
Yep. Because they, from what I got from the episode, they realized that tap room experience is what... is kind of who they are. Yes, the beer is great. Yes, garage beer is absolutely killing it as far as kind of the everyday beer for people. Dark Charge is a force of nature. But that taproom experience is what to me it felt like they said really connected Braxton with the community, be that Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. It's why they revamped the Covington tap room and got rid of kind of the garage space to really open things up, to make some of the areas in the tap room feel less secluded, just to keep everyone together as a community. And like you said, they mentioned their plans are to keep that tap room focus going with, new tap rooms upcoming. No dates given. They're not as ambitious as some other local breweries saying this date and this date and this date, which awesome if you're able to do that.
Right. They also give you an idea about the concept in their mind about these spaces and what they're thinking about as far as it pertains to those spaces and how it relates to their original location, their original idea. I think also, too, if you read between the lines in what they were talking about is they were on a trajectory to be in pretty large distribution for a very wide area, and they wanted to step back and say, okay, with the economic climate that they are currently in and see in the foreseeable near future, the better model for us is to be really honed into our taproom focus. And not that they're not going to be in distribution, and not that they're going to say no to distribution opportunities, but it really has to center more around the taproom experience. And so I think that was a definite peek behind the curtain in this Cincy Brewcast as far as Braxton itself as a whole, as a company with their several locations they already have and the ones yet to come. So
well, and I like, as far as the locations, how they look at their different locations as parts of a house, rooms in a house. Like the Covington location is kind of the living room. It's sort of the main area where everyone gathers. And then you have other areas outside of that. The barrel house might be the mud room going in. I don't know. They didn't really mention certain the tap rooms, but the Cincinnati, or no, I'm sorry, it was the Cincinnati tap room was the living room tap room, because as much as they said and acknowledged that they're a Kentucky brewery, they know that Cincinnati is a huge part of their identity. And so the Cincinnati tap room was the living room. And the only other ones that I mentioned were kind of the upcoming ones. There's going to be a potential Braxton at Lunken Airport, which is probably going to be, that would be the mud room if you have a Braxton out at Lunken. And then Gnome mentioned something about the Braxton backyard if you're going with the house theme, and that's going to be up in Hamilton, because everyone knows that's where he's based out of. I love it. I think it's great. I think that
they could have a deer stand.
Where would that be?
I don't know. Next to the outhouse.
Oh, so like Lawrenceburg, Indiana?
Right.
Kind of go over into that area? Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But it was cool. It was really neat to hear more about Braxton than just Dark Charge. I think Dark Charge is phenomenal. It's fantastic hearing how they came up with, like we said earlier, the different variants, the collaborations with local companies, and the way that they want to keep that local company focus with their collaborations.
Right.
Absolutely amazing to hear, but it was also really cool to hear about some of the other stuff like Jubilee in the beginning and where Braxton sees himself in the future and how they really made sure to look introspectively and to really focus on what is and isn't working. COVID changed the entire landscape of things.
Right.
Because of that, I mean, they admitted Dark Charge will always have an online sale element to it. They're like, because we did that, because we had to do that during COVID, it's now part of the Dark Charge experience, whether you like that or not. Some people really like that stand in line if you want to get this aspect. Some people are okay with order online, but you still have to go to the tap room to get the bottles. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool full picture of Braxton, I felt like, and not just 100% Dark Charge, and you really didn't get anything else out of it.
Right. Yeah. So it wasn't just a Dark Charge commercial.
No.
But it did go into a lot more than just Dark Charge, which was, I appreciated that conversation. And so anybody that stumbles across this for that Cincy Brewcast as a podcast for the first time, or for that podcast in general for the first time, there's also a little bit of video content if you want to follow the Gnarly Gnome on his social media platforms. Yeah. And there's some some video to that.
Yeah, youtube.com/@CincyBrewcast has clips from the last, I think he just recently started doing clips from the Brewcast episode. So I think there are maybe 8.
I think there's 3 or 4.
I think he did a couple clips from each episode. I think that's why I had a bigger number. But they're like 4, maybe 4 episodes worth of, not the full episodes in video, but clips from them. So
I think
if you're
Michael from Medina.
There was Cincy
Matt
Beverage
Damaris.
Co. Yeah, Matt Damaris.
Braxton.
Yeah.
So
they're good. The clips are fantastic. So if you're like, oh, do I really want to listen? Well, yes, you absolutely do want to listen to this entire episode. But if you want to, if you only have a minute or two, go to YouTube, check out the clips, and see what the entire episode can be offering.
Little
Right.
appetizer, wet your whistle there, and then
Right.
and then decide, to go in for the whole podcast.
Yeah.
So
I will say one other thing that I wanted to say was a brilliant move on the Gnome's part is he had the Manscaped ad, and then when he came back into the episode, they talked about the Dark Charge variant that was themed out of balls, salted pretzel bourbon balls, to be specific. So excellent tie-in.
balls.
Oh my God, you can't say that when you're holding your testes, man. I'm telling you.
Sorry.
But I'll tell you, his placement of those ads, primo for this episode.
Wonderful.
It was phenomenal. Was there anything else that you had for Cincy Brewcast?
That's what I got, Julia. And that's all my notes.
That's all of my notes too. I know this is a bit of a shorter episode, but we only had 2 podcasts to cover, and even though we could talk to fill up an entire hour or more, I think I'm going to finish up my I almost said Dark Charge flight, but that's not at all what I'm drinking here, because this is not it. My family tradition flight. And then I think I'm going to get myself a pair of testes.
There you go.
And
Hell yeah.
We're going to have a good rest of the night. So if you do like what we've done during this episode, as ridiculous as some parts of it may have been, let us know. Like, subscribe, share, follow, review, 5 stars on your podcatcher of choice, all of that good stuff. We are at Truth Beer Pod on all of the social media platforms. Send us an email, truthbeerpod@gmail.com. Greg is still the #1 listener to send us an email.
That's awesome.
He sent us multiple emails,
Thank you,
and
Greg.
he is fantastic. So thank you, Greg. If you'd like to monetarily donate to us, because we are actually working on video, we have exactly 1 video up on YouTube, youtube.com/@truthbeerpod. Told you we're at Truth Beer
good
Pod
video.
everywhere. It's a good video.
Yeah.
I'm working on the second, just with real life. Just haven't had the time to dig into the second one. All of our
Spaghetti
episodes,
and waffles and stuff.
Spaghetti and waffles, absolutely. All of our episodes are on YouTube, so check us out there. If you want to monetarily support us, you can go to truthbeerpod.com. There is a blue buy us a pint link. Patreon, I'm working on that. That hopefully will be going live soon. I think we have a very hot take Shift Beers recap that we removed from the main episode. That may be the first thing we post out there, in addition to some of our first test episodes. Once I re-listen, re-edit, and make sure. Got some testes. We testes all over the place here at Truth Beer Pod. It is freaking fantastic.
From the windows to the walls.
And everything in between. Yeah. Thank you guys so very much. We cannot appreciate your listenership enough. I'm stealing your words from you. You say listenership much better than I ever could. Marco.
Julia.
And to the producer.
Oh, look at that.
Oh. Do you want us to pause? What are you doing next Tuesday?
I'm going to be getting at our podcast host, and I will be reviewing Cincinnati Craft Beer Podcast with you. Cheers, Julia.
Cheers, Mike. We don't know what we're doing. Cheers. This sucks. I give up. Have a great one, guys.